I'm Robert Campbell, Margaret's brother, and I'd like to share a few memories with you people here today. We had a budgie. Its name was Bluey. It was my dad's pride and joy, as it had a vocabulary second to none. Up the Rangers, F the Screws, and so on. Margaret wanted a cat and got one. As she was the youngest in the family, she got everything. We were a dog family. After a couple of weeks, my dad found the budgie in the cat's mouth. Mysteriously, the cat ran away. 2 days later, we went looking for it, but we couldn't find it. Margaret was very upset, and we got her a guinea pig, and all was good. I remember when I broke my leg on the last day of high school. I had a plaster on it and couldn't walk that well. Margaret, being the kind sister she was, took all opportunity to get one over me. I was boiling a kettle to make tea, and Margaret was giving me shit. I couldn't catch her, but I had just enough time to pour some boiling water down her wellies. I didn't know you could get out of wellies that quick. Margaret was out with friends one night, and they decided to borrow a car from someone who didn't want their car borrowed from. They went on a joyride, and Margaret ended up with a broken back. Margaret was tough. It was a hard slog from that night on. She would go on to spend many months in hospital, and it would take more than a year in rehab and physiotherapy to get her back walking again. It was in the hospital that she met Dorothy, who was in the bed next to her. They would become great friends, and for many years this would last. I remember Margaret, after a few wines, telling me that she was psychopathic, but I think she meant psychic. Margaret said she didn't need to call Dorothy on the phone. Each of them knew the other one was sick or when there was something wrong. This was because they were both psychic. This was a great gift for both of them, as it saved money on many phone calls. I moved to Australia, and after a few years, Margaret and Isa came over on holiday. Margaret loved sunbathing and only used Factor Zero coconut oil. After a few days, she looked like a lobster. Both Margaret and Isa had a great time. We did the beaches, the boat trips, and all the touristy things. On another trip to Australia, Margaret and Isa brought Linda, my niece, over. Margaret was still using the same coconut oil by then. She now had a nemesis in Linda. I remember them both after a night we had a barbecue, having fun in the pool. I couldn't take too much of the videos or photos, as it would not be the done thing for an uncle. Linda gave Margaret a good run for her money, and it was happy times. On one of our trips away, we went to a house on the river. There were lots of spiders. Margaret and Isa were scared of them. I told them the spiders were dangerous and they can't swim. I went to the shop to get fish and chips for dinner that night. When I came back, Margaret had filled pots of water and put them under the legs of the beds. This was so the spiders would drown trying to get up into the bed. On another trip down under, Margaret and Isa came over with Big Pete. It was good times then, and things were different. I could list many of the good times I had with my sister, like her taking the scenic flight over Perth, catching crabs, cooking them on the houseboat, and lots more. This is the Margaret I remember, the fun-loving, outgoing, strongly opinionated Margaret, or Wee Mag as most of you call her. I will remember the fun times that I have had with my little sister, and would hope all of you will remember the fun times you have had with Margaret. For some of you, it might be Margaret giving you a couple of quid for a beer, and others it might be a chat over a cup of coffee or a glass of wine. Margaret will be up there with the rest of the family, all the pets, especially her dogs, as the dogs were always her babies. I would like to thank all of you who helped Margaret through the early and final stages of her life. I don't want to name names, and you all know who you are anyway, and Margaret loved you all. Love Robert, Catherine, Mark, Laura, Edie and Walter the dog. Bye.